How would you describe your leadership style? You just shared a bit of a perspective there. Is there anything more to that? And has it evolved over the course of your career? Now you've
Yeah, I
been
mean,
many years in banking.
I try to approach it from a way that resonates with me, that's authentic to me. Early in my career in banking, I tried to be a tough guy, and that didn't really work for me. Just not in my personality. I've never been that guy. I don't think I can apply it to a personal or professional setting. I can't summarize it in one word, but I would say I try to treat above and below, depending on where I was in my career at the time, with some level of respect and not look at it in a hierarchical situation. But this is a relationship. If you believe in each other and what you're trying to do, we're all trying to get to this point. Some people do it in different ways. I respect the way you do it, and I hope you do likewise for me. But I think that's just how to operationalize that. But it's just
Mm.
something that works for me and my style, and that's how I try to treat all my interactions as a senior banker.
But I think authenticity is key, right? I couldn't agree more on that front. And I think you've got
Yeah.
to be yourself to be able to succeed and to bring the team with you. We talked to relationship building as well. We already touched on that as part of the networking. But I know it's played a big role when you talked about your time in China and how you had to build really great relationships, both with internal team members and clients. Any tips for us on how you build relationships effectively?
I feel like I have so much to learn still on that. I would say the foundation of networking is probably you have to like going out there, meeting people, learning from people, and wanting to get involved with people. That's really the foundation. And it has to be authentic. You have to enjoy it, because if you don't like going out there and meeting new people, it's going to be very hard to be effective networking. I've always enjoyed meeting entrepreneurs, meeting people who are building things, whether it's in the private sector, whether it's NGOs. I've always really enjoyed being in that type of environment. That's the foundation. The second thing is, and I've certainly over the years learned more about that, is how to think about adding value to people, right? That means you need to be able to listen and really understand what somebody is trying to achieve at a given moment. And especially when you're thinking about working with a client or trying to win over a client, what is that person trying to achieve within the organization, within their market? It doesn't necessarily mean that you need to be able to add value immediately today in a very grandiose way, but you need to understand the trajectory of that person, or think about over time how you can develop a relationship by being a supporting factor in that person's growth and journey. From developing relationships with students, to developing relationships with alumni, to developing relationships with clients, your colleagues, how can you add value to people? How can you be a partner in those people's growth and development? And that's what I try to tell myself every day, both in the business world, but also in personal relationships. I want to be there to be as much as I can in people's lives when they need it.
And I always remember someone said to me, Picasso once said it took him 4 years to paint like his idol, Raphael, but it took a lifetime to paint like himself. And I think my journey is I continuously try to find a way that I do M&A that is uniquely me. And I think that my success has been a result of that. And isn't that what we all try to do? The journey that we're all on is trying to genuinely express ourselves in whatever art form we pick in our lives.
I really love that take. And you're right. You be genuine, and it's tough because investment banking is fueled by mentorship and by trying to emulate successful leaders and people there. So I can really understand how that was a challenge to break through that. And
especially when people don't look like you, or we're from different cultural backgrounds. It's hard to pick someone to say, I'm going to be like that person. And the biggest thing I found is that success can come to you in your own way. You can't do it exactly like your boss. You just have to find your own path.
And any tips for those listening? That I'm sure this is going to resonate with our listeners, and they're probably tuning in and thinking, yeah, hey, how do I find my own style? How do I be more genuine? Any tips or advice from that perspective?
For sure. And I mentor a lot of bankers and corporate finance folks across the country. And we talk about this all the time. Like, how do you find something that is authentically you, but also that's effective? And I would say it's a work in progress all the time. It's a journey of self-discovery, and you have to embrace your own uniqueness. Absolutely. You learn from others. You learn from senior guys, but you want to just take what works and discard the things that doesn't work, right? You want to take inspiration from people, but you don't want to imitate them. That's not a distinction without a difference. And it's basically trial and error. And along the way, you have to have a lot of self-reflection, self-awareness, And most importantly, you have to have the courage to be honest with yourself. And I always said that our greatest enemy to achieving success is self-deception, right? Because by definition, you don't know you're deceiving yourself. And so it's really difficult to be honest with yourself, but you have to really find your own way. Does that make sense?